What's up, everybody? It's Sportskeeda Wrestling on a Monday. Share that link or you stink. The latest backstage drama on Sasha Banks and Naomi following their walkout last week from WWE. New details emerging in just the past 24 hours about how this thing continues to evolve, and it's not going in the right direction. Stephanie McMahon taking an abrupt hiatus from WWE. What has led to that, and what is the backstage reaction to this major move by a McMahon to step away from the WWE for a temporary time? Some good news. The Rock, the biggest movie star in the world. Oh, by the way, you remember him in WWE? It looks like he could have some time open next year to get back into the game. And leading to that, the match you all want, the Bloodline. It moves in a different direction and a different way now. We have some news about them, the biggest faction in all professional wrestling. What is their future? We got AEW Double or Nothing this weekend. We got a lot to talk about. If you are not in the conversation, you are out of it. Get in the comments, or I don't know. I guess you have some opinion somewhere on the internet that means something. Bye.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
Look at that. We got somebody already bragging about getting Clash of the Champions tickets or Clash of the Castle tickets. That's really cool.
Oh.
Watch out, watch out, watch out.
Watch out.
Sherry Reigns is here. Apparently she's related to Roman Reigns. She's here. If you're with us the first time, tell us where you're watching from. Get on screen. Get your comments on screen. Smash the like button if you're just watching. You're a lurker and not a speaker. Let's hear what you got to say. I'm Kev Kellam. That is Jose G in Florida, and over in Nebraska, if you ask you, that is Jeremy Bennett as well. Jeremy going to be doing the Twitch thing for us every Wednesday night with Getting Over, our gaming stream on Wednesday nights after Dynamite. Please
Not
check
this week,
that
though.
out. Not this week, but we're doing some cool stuff with it, so keep an eye on it. We're going to be doing some fun stuff there, some watch alongs, all the hootenannies going to be going on. If you haven't done so, go ahead. Subscribe to Sportskeeda Wrestling on YouTube. Vince Russo with us every Monday night after Monday Night Raw. And, of course, we have fresh interviews up right now with Sonya Deville and Paul Heyman, who made a lot of news last week in my conversation with him. So definitely please go check that out. Let's get right into it. Sasha Banks and Naomi. They are the talk of the wrestling world. And some people are really behind them and against WWE, or vice versa, and they're with WWE. It's a very divisive issue amongst wrestling fans right now. And we're learning more details about what is going on, what happened when, why did it happen, and how this is all evolving. And some new information, and it doesn't seem like it's getting better after this past Friday. We covered this with Smack Talk this past week, this past Friday, when WWE basically read a statement on air with Michael Cole, continuing to distance themselves from Sasha Banks and Naomi. They have been stripped of the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. There will be a tournament formed to crown new tag team champions, and Sasha and Naomi are suspended indefinitely. It is worth noting a Fightful report today reporting more details about this, saying that 7:15 Eastern, so there would be 7:15, 15 minutes after Raw started last week, they decided to make this move. And the move was because they didn't feel they could get a hold of Vince McMahon to change anything, so they opted to go with this direction. It is also worth noting that they are not released from WWE. They're not released from WWE. They are suspended. So that clarification was also made in report here. And it's also worth noting, a lot of hurt feelings on this, on both sides of the coin here. We also have Sasha Banks making an appearance publicly at a Steve Aoki concert over the weekend. A lot of people are like, oh, look at her. She's having such a good time. So screw WWE, and the Sasha stands lost their minds of this whole thing. So it's a pretty divisive issue here. Very, very divisive issue. And there's a lot of people taking a lot of sides in this. But I mean, obviously, a lot of people responding to how WWE did this. Why did they have to do this? Why was this something that was done on Monday Night Raw? By them. And then why did WWE put out these statements and then kind of take this almost offense is the best defense kind of maneuver? To me, I think it's the modern age of social media. They don't want the narrative getting away from them. That's what it looks like on the surface.
That's exactly what it is.
And maybe 10 years ago, this isn't something they would do. But considering you're doing this with one of the more popular characters, and you're just going to let I don't know. I'm not defending WWE by any means. I understand why they want to do.
But you're absolutely right about that, Kevin, because in the age of social media, news stories get out within minutes, within seconds.
And then
we know about this.
Yes.
And then they want to control their narrative, which is why they said something on Monday, which is why they even doubled down and even announced a suspension on Friday. But now we got a lot more. We got some more details around this because there was a lot of stuff that came up over the weekend from the social medias being deleted on Facebook, from Naomi dropping the WWE from Twitter. So there's just like so much information that we really need to recap from over the weekend. So Jeremy, what do you got?
Yeah, and a lot of the interesting things are the things that WWE came out with were not factual, according to a lot of sources, which makes it even more interesting. And as of now, they are suspended. And according to a report from Dave Meltzer, it is possible that they may be freezing their contracts. We reported on the show last week that they had basically both women had 2 months left on their deal. So if they freeze their contracts, they are not able to walk away and step right into another company right away. They are stuck with the WWE at that point. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. USA even getting in on it and dropping an article much like of what Kevin did on a top 5 video. What we've done on
very interesting. They pulled that move, didn't it?
Yeah, the USA Network.
It's one thing if us the dirty sheets do it. It's one thing.
Yeah,
we're
getting paid by them clicks, but USA Network doing it is very interesting as well. So a whole lot of things going on there. Snoop Dogg seemed to kind of back his cousin Sasha Banks there as well, with some words that he had put out there. Pat McAfee even mentioned it on his show today. He has no idea what's going on, much like unlike Jimmy Smith kind of knew, well, obviously because they were on live with Raw. And Pat is kind of in the dark on those things, but he basically said we need a resolution, which is the case. Just letting this sit in limbo, especially if you're freezing their contracts, that's going to cause an even more upheaval than it is. Because
now they're really stuck in limbo. Now they're really stuck because now they were expecting to walk if that contract expired, right? But now they can't even do that.
Yeah, and
actions have reactions.
Yeah, and
this is actions have reactions, especially more than ever. And I think maybe 10 years ago, if there wasn't an AEW, if there wasn't a competition, this wouldn't happen. But if you want to spin this narrative and try and paint us as the bad, this is me defending WWE. They want to walk out. I completely understand. It's fine. The questionable part is you chose to do it this way. So now this is what's going to happen.
It's interesting that the very immediate statement they put out there had non-factual information. Based on backstage sources. So
do you think that's a fluid? Are you talking about the statement they put out on Monday night?
That they thought they didn't want to work with them because they were dangerous or some stuff like that. And that whatever WWE had put out in that statement, that stuff wasn't true. It was all surrounding the booking of the tag team division for the women, which now has a tournament where they only have 2 teams. If that. Because, Doudrop and
but they haven't announced the brackets for a tournament. They haven't announced any teams for the tournament, have they?
That's because they don't have teams.
Nothing.
They don't have teams.
There are no teams. Maybe we'll find out tonight.
So, Jeremy, are you mad about something that hasn't happened yet?
No, I'm saying there's no team. They have 2 teams. They have one established team that was put together a month ago, and they don't even have an official team with the other team that they have. They have 2 teams on the main roster.
In WWE's defense, they just announced it on Friday, so we're probably going to get some structure to what this tournament's going to look like starting tonight.
This is going to fast 72 hours ago. Also, they wouldn't have to do this if the tag champs didn't walk out on the promotion and do the matches they were booked to do and take the money they're getting paid to do.
The reason they walked out
is no, you do this. This is what happens.
Yeah, but the reason they walked out. Look at the reason why. Look at the reason why they walked out. Boom. Now we got to have a tournament. How many teams do we got? We barely have 2. That's why they walked out, because the division is so shitty.
I don't want to be.
Here we go. Now we have a division. It's a big thing.
Listen, I don't want to be that guy that always thinks that things are getting work, but I kind of agree with CRC. We're getting work, guys. Why is USA putting up an article on the most dramatic walkouts in WWE? Yeah. I'm just thinking, what if they turn this whole real situation into an angle?
We've been saying that from the beginning, that it's possible. Is this going to fast track Toxic Attraction? If so, they got the tag champs right now. So are they going to have to drop those?
They are the women tag champs of WWE at the moment.
Maybe they finally do what they should have done all along and merge those 2 titles as well. If you include the whole
thing, other people screaming it's a work and all these.
If you include Toxic Attraction in this tournament, this is a good way to do something and merge those titles like they should have done a long time ago.
We got Victor Nash here on Facebook. So the question is, will Jimmy Uso or Roman will step up for Naomi? I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
mean, Sasha could easily, or Naomi could
Yeah.
easily come back and fall into that bloodline storyline where where they could say, "Oh, Paul Heyman works some strings," or Roman Reigns works some strings, pulled
I
some
think
strings.
either one of them could
Yeah,
come back.
because they could say,
I mean, either one of them could come back.
because Roman could say he's got that pole,
Mhm.
and they could easily bring her back. I don't know if Sasha wants to be back, so I don't know if we're at the point of no return with
Who
her or
knows?
not. Yeah, there's a lot more.
People have
that's
come
still
back
unsaid.
from much worse on much shorter basis.
Yeah.
You know,
Very true. But if one thing is proven to be true,
everybody
is
losing
that
their mind about this. They did
WWE
this to Stone Cold 20 years
Oh,
ago.
But
You know?
now we have a situation, but that because of social media, everything is just so much more out there
Yeah.
for everyone to see. And now WWE taking and knowing how to get back at them, right? Oh, you
Mhm.
walked out. Well, you know what? You're not going to get any merch money. Oh,
Yeah.
and your contract's frozen for the
So, I mean,
the indefinite time
we saw
of
the same
your
thing happen. The same thing
suspension.
happened this year. The same thing happened this year already with AEW and Tony Khan doing the stupid tweet where he went off on Big Swole, right? And then you had everybody, suddenly everyone who's in the AEW camp is a part of it. AEW is not saying it directly, but there was certainly a controlled sense of, hey, everybody, get out in front of this thing right now, and so it's the same thing. This is public reputation stuff. This is fighting narratives that you don't want being twisted and all these different things. And on top of it, there's so much more to this that we still don't know. There's so much we thought we knew on Monday, and we knew it would develop, and we know more is coming out about it. And there's so much more to this that I think that anyone knows that maybe even WWE doesn't even know, So, and then you see all right, well, yeah, all right, you want to say that, all right, then we're going to do a tournament. There we go, and you're going to be on the sidelines watching other people do this. Yeah. I think the biggest thing that WWE could do now, and this is purely speculative, this isn't me saying this is a source, pull the trigger and have the Bella Twins come in and win these belts. You want to do something that really makes people just look the other way, and I'm talking about female wrestling fans look the other way as the Bella Twins come in and win those belts.
Especially
and they have that ability to do it
too. They represent that millennial generation too, because
Yeah.
a lot of these women that came up, between 2004 to 2015, 2016, those women followed the Bellas. A lot of the female wrestlers that we see now were influenced because of the Bellas. So
Yeah, and I'm not sure if they. Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
not sure if they want to return at all, but obviously
They've
there's
said
going to
it.
be money on the table.
Maybe they don't want to return now, right?
How I would book it is if you've got a resolution. If you got a resolution with Sasha and Naomi, keep it quiet. And
Book it,
that
JB.
first
Book it.
and that first tournament match, you have them destroy all 4 women.
Oh, you mean they go back into the tournament to win this thing?
No, they don't go back to the tournament. They just screw up the tournament completely.
They just keep running in and destroying.
It's a good story.
It would generate a big pop because everybody's behind these girls now. So,
or maybe, what if it just kind of makes it to an angle like a female version of the NWO, where they just kind of anti WWE, but are still working WWE stuff, just destroying the women's division. Doing something out of the box like that. I think that could work, but I don't know, man. I don't know what to believe now.
I mean, this sounds, I don't know. It's weird because it sounds on the surface, especially from people on the inside, it sounds like this was obviously not a work. This is a serious situation that caused serious changes to the show last week. A week later now, it's so weird because everybody wants to jump on that bandwagon that it's a work, and what the WWE and USA Network are doing is not helping matters at all when it comes to that, especially if this is still a real situation.
I also think there's just so much, how much did WWE sign off on that USA article thing? The USA Network piece about that. Were they aware of that? Because there's been things where you're partnered.
That's the other thing, right? That's the other thing that makes you wonder.
Their other television partner is Fox.
There's too many coinciding points going on here.
Their other television partner is Fox, and WWE on Fox has their own social media team, right?
Yeah.
And they did some really cheeky things when Cody came over that were kind of trolly. I remember sitting in the press box at WrestleMania, and we were all looking at it. We're like, what are they doing? And they were doing mocks of
that
logo.
wasn't Fox. That wasn't Fox. That was BT Sport.
BT Sport. I'm sorry. Thank you for the correction. But it was you do that with a TV partner, and they can use your content.
Even
they have the right to do
Sport, Even still for BT Sport, that was pretty controversial for what they did.
Yes. Oh, and the heat, the internet butt hurt. That was hurt.
The end of that Fightful Select article that just dropped literally less than half an hour ago states that there has not been any indication that there's an end in the horizon for the situation. Neither woman is at Raw. Jimmy Uso is not expected to be affected by this, thank God, because that would be ridiculous if he was.
I mean, if he's unifying the Raw and the SmackDown tag titles, I don't get the impression.
And so other than that, they have not heard any particular stance that he's taken. No word from him yet, and that's probably the best thing for him right now is to keep shut about that about the situation too.
Let's see what some of the fans are saying here. Classic Xander saying, "I don't see it being a work with WWE." Actually mentioning on their site these shows is scripted. Yes, that's true. That was worth noting. The initial statement they stated like, "Hey, we're a scripted TV show." These people walked out on the script.
Yeah.
Other people just want to know.
That's what they want you to believe, Kevin. That's what WWE wants you to believe.
I don't want to. You don't get to work me. I work you. Shut up. Watch your show.
Eric Kellam, dude. The only way I could believe anything in wrestling is when the check doesn't bounce. Everything is just work.
Brings me back to
that. I'm so mad that they do a show.
Brings me back to that Stone Cold sessions with Bully Ray, and they talked about the check or the Paul Heyman joke right in the beginning.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot with this here, and other people are talking about it. Another big female-oriented story in WWE involves Stephanie McMahon. She made a leave of absence this past week, and there's been more of an update on this and how it's affected things. This is more of a lifestyle change for Stephanie McMahon, who's been a part of WWE basically her entire life, and her entire adult life. She's had some type of role within the company, from all the way at being an assistant to being the head of creative to now serving in an executive role. And a lot of speculation about how personal things in her life may have affected this. I don't think we need to dive too much into that because it's just all out there. And also, that's people's personal lives, which I think they're allowed to have, unless that becomes a big story. So she did take a leave of absence. She is expected to return to the company at some point. Every major source and every major report indicates that as well. And for me, talking to some people within the industry, there is an expectation that she'll be back in the company as well. So what's the latest on this, though?
So this is basically from PWInsider saying that basically the toll that it took on with Triple H's health said that the last year has been rough. And of course, we mentioned it on the show last week that she basically took on Triple H and her jobs both at the same time during that time as well. So that basically that whole thing kind of took a toll on her, which led to take the leave of absence.
Makes sense.
On the surface level, that makes complete sense, Jose, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, after you, that's a life-changing event, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my father went through something like that last year. That's a life-changing event. So I can only imagine now that he's back at 100%. He's back at the office. He's working. Now she can take a breather, not only from taking care of him, but also taking care of her own duties at WWE. I think she needs. I was just having this conversation with my wife. I was telling her about this story, and she's like, "Good, she deserves it. She should just take the rest of the year off and come back next year." She really should.
I love the objectivity of that. Like, we're just like, we just want more cool stuff. We want more news. And then someone objectively like, they deserve a break.
Mm-hmm.
Like somebody that is
someone, and especially someone like her who is under the spotlight, not only from the board of directors of WWE and being Vince McMahon's daughter, but she's also the chief brand officer, and she's pretty much the face that you see when you are dealing with WWE in a business standpoint. She's in front of a lot of the charities that's going on, a lot of the initiatives that that WWE has done in the last 5 or 7 years. These are all attributed to Stephanie McMahon. So yeah, you may not see her on TV as part of the authority anymore, but I guarantee you that 99% of the charities or initiatives that's being taken or that's being done is because of Stephanie McMahon.
And the company is big enough, and they have enough people there. You can take the toll here, but it also leans into the culture of the company changing so rapidly out of the pandemic since 2020, with Nick Khan assuming a role as the president of the company. And it's worth noting, I know everyone says this is Nick Khan guy, he's so bad, he's this. This is the guy who secured them $2 billion deals. Like, he secured them the biggest contracts they've ever gotten, the highest level of profit they've ever gotten off any deal. He did 2 of them. Like, you know.
Yeah, and PWInsider also mentioning that Nick Khan is going to be the one assuming her duties while she's out.
Yeah. How long she'll be out of the picture, I don't know. But, I mean, good for her. You know,
it's indefinite. And I also have the understanding that they are going to be filling her position. Right now, Nick Khan will be taking care of her position temporarily, but there will be someone that will be filling that position until she comes back.
And what will her role be when she comes back? Will be the same type of role. Will she have something else? Who knows? I mean, I would hope that she's involved. You know, I mean, she's just somebody who kind of knows that system. And I know everyone then starts to talk, oh, this is them prepping the McMahons are jumping ship. I've already heard people rush to that. You know, I don't think that's the case. It is worthy in retrospect. Do you think?
No, because Triple H came back to work.
Jeremy, yeah, Triple H is back working again.
He just tagged in.
Yeah, hot tag, baby. Yeah. And the thing to note here is, remember at one point everyone just thought the heir apparent was Shane, that Shane was going to get the company, you know, and to the point where this was covered in their documentary. They did the Evil documentary. They focused on Stephanie as a villain, and they brought that up. That there was a lot of people that saw Shane leave the company. What was it, 2007, 2009-ish, right? He left the company and was gone. Was gone for what, nearly 10, 11 years?
Almost 10 years, yeah.
Worked for that sports agency.
Yeah, so I mean, it'll be interesting to see how this kind of unfolds and this plays out. But I also I'm not going to rush to any conclusions because it's still such a fluid situation. And I'm happy. I'm happy that, you know, you have a healthy Triple H, you have someone at a greater point in their life, and whether or not you like what WWE's doing, let people who do this job have some health and some peace. And some fullness.
Work-life balance.
It's not like
all about that work-life balance, baby.
It's not like they've been on TV every day.
Yeah,
exactly.
Or producing it. You know, the thing is just producing it too. So everything's all they're not on television. They can't be working that hard. Stop it.
Exactly.
That's such a surface level thing. Speaking of someone we have seen on screens recently, he was right there. You can see him at the 50-yard line of the Super Bowl, cutting a promo, baby.
But can you smell him? You see him, but can you smell him?
And what does he smell like? Terramana or whatever product we're supposed to be consuming right now that has his name on it.
I need to go get a bottle of that.
The Rock is set to be clear of all movie or television productions in the first quarter of 2023, which is so curious because that would line up with some wrestling events that time of year.
What?
And also what is going on in quarter 2 of 2023 is the launch of the XFL, his pro football league, which last week secured a hefty contract with Disney Television to air on the FX network, ESPN, and several Disney streaming services and Disney platforms. So this is very compelling to see this. This is news that kind of came together over the weekend. And it's odd. The big conflict of The Rock for the last 10 years since he came back to WWE in 2011 to host WrestleMania, then build to WrestleMania 28, that really kickstarted his core fan base. That reminded you, oh yeah, he does movies, but he's doing kick-ass movies again. And that Fast and the Furious movie he did, that first one where he came back and he was a central character, that really rebooted the franchise, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And once he reminds WWE fans that he's still a WWE superstar, some things are very good for him. And it just all lines up. If they're going to relaunch the XFL and do it off the celebrity of him, and he's got one more big match in him, it all lines up for what match that Paul Heyman described as a masturbatory fantasy. You can see the interview. It is up now. So we're getting Rock versus Reigns. All the lines are connecting, right, Jeremy? I could pull back here just like Charlie Day and It's Always Sunny and point to all the red dots that connect, right?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you got XFL. That's a lot of work you got to do. So you got to clear the calendar for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe WrestleMania if he's got time.
It makes complete sense, right?
Listen, the Rock. If I've been following the Rock on behind the scenes on the social medias for many years, and one thing I can tell you that this guy knows how to multitask. I would not be surprised if he's running the XFL, doing WWE.
Clanging and banging in the gym every day.
Clanging and banging at 4:30 in the morning, like he does.
Bicep curls get the girls.
Right? So, yeah, I would not be surprised if he does both. If he does some type of a deal with WWE where he gets to promote the XFL while he's, this is a win-win. He's lining up to make tons of money next year.
A lot of people with takes here. Ricky Castillion, I bet The Rock got fired up watching Stone Cold wrestle again. Who would?
I'm sure.
That was awesome. That was
a highlight. One more. Rocky Stone Cold 4.
Yeah, right. No, that ain't gonna happen. But
Steven Chambers saying goodbye USFL. Goodbye USFL.
My
Jeremy,
God, that not much. When I do follow it, it's boring as shit. Jesus.
Victor Nash saying Rock versus Roman was confirmed weeks ago. The thing is, it hasn't been confirmed.
It's a masturbatory fantasy.
It is a masturbatory fantasy.
It's a jerk off fantasy for you jerk off fans.
Yes. And
Kevin,
I got
Kevin,
that.
Kevin got the rub several times over the week.
He got the rub, all right.
Hey, I asked the hard questions.
That phrase has been on every wrestling website the past week, and it's
at least
great.
You didn't go limp in the interview.
Yeah, that's true. It's always good.
So when I'm doing the interview with him,
it's always good to come hard.
If I'm doing the interview with him, I'm being very professional. I'm on camera like this, and I'm keeping a straight face. But off camera, my hand is just going like once he said it, I was just
you're like,
no, not like that. No,
like this.
No, I just hey now. Wait a second. We do not want to be demonetized on YouTube. Wait a second here. We were just talking about gestures.
Gestures.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. So, I mean, Rock versus Reigns, this is the biggest box office attraction that is just being dream booked by every fan, both diehard, casual. If you're just a fan that watches during WrestleMania season, if you're a fan that only watches when Roman's on, if you're just a fan of Roman, this is the match you want him to have, right? If you're a fan of just The Rock, if you're just a diehard WWE fan, you consume everything they do, and you want to know about every story that we talk about, this is the match. You got to find a way to get this match in the ring, and it's almost this is like, if they don't get this, you're missing a really, really special thing if you can't get it.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that because, I mean, that's the expectation. Everybody thought we were going to get something like that earlier this year. We didn't get it. It's an expectation. It's almost like a foregone conclusion that we want to get this because it's an NYI family thing too. It's the passing of the baton, the passing of the tribe. One tribe member acknowledging another tribe.
Which is funny because now Roman Reigns is going to be turning into The Rock very soon and not wrestling as much. So it's like the torch is passing to a guy doing the same. Well, he's passing the Hollywood torch. Is that what he's doing? Because
if you beat me, you become Hobbs.
Yeah. No. Hey.
Yeah, I don't think
I want a reboot of that, man. I love that movie.
Was it good?
Not a reboot, but a sequel. I want a sequel to that. Sequel? Yeah, Hobbs and Shaw was really good. Rock and Statham worked really well together.
Rock and Statham, I like it. Rock and Statham sounds like a nice brand of clothes. Oh, what are you wearing? I'm wearing Rock and Statham. So let's get into this Bloodline news.
Sounds like a cologne line,
right?
Oh, what does that smell? Oh, it's Rock and Statham. Someone had a Rock and Statham night here. They think they're gonna get lucky. So Bloodline here. We got some more news here about Bloodline. Big week for them. The Usos, a headlining tag team affair on SmackDown. All of the drama aside, because you had WWE putting out that statement on television right before the main event, which was oddly timed, right? But that main event delivered. That was one of the best WWE tag team matches on television in quite some time. It got a lot of time. It delivered on what it was supposed to be. It was so good. I was like, why was this on a pay-per-view? Like this was like a pay-per-view match on television. I'm not boasting or doing that. Roman obviously cheated and helped them win the titles, but that's the Bloodline. They're evil, bad dudes doing bad dude stuff. And so you have unified tag team champions. They have all the gold. But Roman, as we mentioned, is taking a back seat. He kind of confirmed this. He did appear and perform on live events for WWE this weekend. Basically alluded to an event this past Saturday, or this weekend, Sunday rather, excuse me. They had a show went Saturday night in Rockford, Illinois. I had friends that were at the show. They said, Roman, great. He had a great time. Kind of expressed might be saying less of him, and then did the same thing as well in Iowa the following night, and basically alluded this is the last time you're going to see him at an event like this. This lines up with the reports we've already heard, with Roman taking less of an in-the-ring role on live events. You'll see him on television. He'll have more of a role, and he'll be able to take more time off, even though he holds both WWE championships here. It's worth noting WWE's kind of creating more storylines with other characters on the show and different pairings that don't involve Roman. And the things we do know with Roman involve 3 opponents for him later this year, including Randy Orton at SummerSlam, reportedly, and Drew McIntyre coming up at Clash at the Castle in September, which makes a lot of sense.
And Riddle at Money in the Bank.
Someone's telling me my mic is cutting out. Is my mic okay, guys?
It sounds fine right now.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't cutting out earlier, but this
so
is
what
interesting. This is very interesting because we spoke about how now Roman's schedule is probably going to be more stadium driven. They're going to save him for those really big shows. But it's interesting enough now that we're going to have this story because they took out RK Bro right after they won the match, right? They laid him out completely. They even put like a post on social media that they're under medical evaluation after their attack from that tag team unification match. So it looks like it's going to be RK Bro. It's going to be Riddle versus Roman at Money in the Bank, and then Randy Orton and Roman at SummerSlam. That's what I think we're probably going to get.
Yeah, and according to Dave Meltzer, he just confirmed what I had assumed, and that the call to make the unification was made very late. So apparently, up until very late in the day, it was going to not be a non-finish, and there was not going to be a unification of the titles. So we actually reported that they were not going to want to unify the tag titles, even though this match was going to happen. So this was a change into what was internally originally planned, and that change happened very late in the game to make the Bloodline hold all the gold. It'll be very interesting to see where they go from here. I don't expect RK Bro to break up. I expect RK Bro to eventually probably get the titles back, because I don't think they're truly unifying them, much like they have not truly unified the world title yet. But it'll remains to be seen, because we still don't have any clarification on the world title yet either.
A lot of people saying the crowd reaction was really good. Yeah, because the Bloodline's over. People are into characters. People pick their favorites. They weren't quiet.
It's starting to grow. It's starting to wear on people, though.
It is starting to wear on people. I do agree, but there's still an attraction that moved tickets. You know, like everyone I talked to this weekend who bought tickets for those shows in Iowa and Illinois, I talked to quite a few. They bought for 2 things: Drew McIntyre and the Bloodline and Roman Reigns. That's what they bought tickets for. Yeah. And they wanted to see those 2 things. And some people were like, is Cody going to be there? And I was like, he isn't on this loop. And he wasn't. I did talk to some people who are upset they didn't get to see Sasha as well. So, I mean, you have some people who are still buying. Those are the diehards of the diehards. They're buying tickets to the live events, right? So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out here. I think it's going to be odd for WWE to sustain this that long. I agree with you. It is kind of wearing thin, but if you are going to get the most out of it, I think you can get through the summer with these guys as the top acts, both as a tag team and as singles, into SummerSlam. Now, does that mean Randy Orton is the guy to get that belt off of Roman? Is Drew the guy to do that? Is he not going to defend this title at all? Are you going to, so you're going to have a lot of different things. And I do think this does allow some time for the machine that is big enough for WWE, for someone else to come up and become a bigger star and spend that time to develop someone who eventually puts their foot down and says, hey, I'm kicking everyone's ass. Roman's sitting at home with our world titles and he's not defending them. And that logic makes sense. And I'm okay with that. It's not the best storyline. I also don't think you can keep those. You can't keep those belts on Roman.
You're just rinsing and repeating. You're rinsing and repeating.
Yeah.
Doing what you do with Brock Lesnar. Now you're applying it to Roman.
I think by the time we get to Clash of the Castle, Bloodline's going to have no belts. I think RK Bro gets them back at Clash of the Castle, and Drew wins at Clash of the Castle, and Bloodline comes out with it completely empty-handed. Roman probably takes a month or 2 off, maybe not till Survivor Series, maybe not even till Rumble. Maybe he's got some things
rev him right back up.
Maybe Roman's got some things lined up for the fall, which is why he's taking a step back now, and he's going to take a further step back in the fall. Maybe, who knows? But I think the Bloodline's going to be out of belts by September.
Do you want to hear a crazy comment we just got here? Want to hear a crazy comment? John Whittle. I won't put it on screen.
We never get crazy comments.
No, never. But this one's pretty out there. F people that sit and hold titles. F them.
F them. F them. F them good.
F 'em. F 'em.
David from the Barclays Center says, whoever beats Roman will still have a Saturn V rocket strapped to them and should be someone that can actually do something with it. Not Cody. Why not Cody? You just don't like Cody?
See, that's where I didn't like Drew at first, but as more time goes on, I kind of feel like Drew should be the guy.
Virtuous.
I agree.
He's a virtuous champion. He's a valiant champion, you know? And you need someone who is the antithesis of what Roman is. Roman is callous. He is hubris. He is filled with entitlement. I am
big words.
Yes, I'm using big words. Hubris is one of my favorite wrestling words.
And Drew's such a company guy too. Like he's always down to do any media. Doesn't matter where it is. Right now he's doing that media tour in the UK, plugging everything for Clash of the Castle. So yeah, I mean, I think Drew would definitely be a good pick. And plus, he'll get that moment in front of the crowds. So.
Yeah, he'll get the moment he never did, because I think it's going to be a big pop when somebody finally beats the Bloodline. Because, like I said, people are starting to get tired of it now. So now, the time is going to be coming up here towards the end of the summer to pull that trigger.
It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. Thank you guys so much for checking out today's show. Did you enjoy it? Well, how come you haven't hit that like button yet? If you're watching for the first time, don't make it the last time, as we do Top Story Monday through Friday. And we'll lead up to AEW Dynamite this week in Las Vegas. A lot of cool stuff going on with that. We'll have a post show for that as well on Sunday night, so definitely check that out. And also check out our exclusive interviews that we've already alluded to here with Paul Heyman and Sonya Deville. These are very, very compelling ones. Sonya Deville proclaiming herself the greatest WWE general manager authority figure of all time. Do you disagree?
And we got to give a huge thanks to every single one of you that's put that video over 19,000 views on YouTube, which is amazing. So we appreciate every single one of you, and keep showing that love by sharing it with your friends, and just get it out there, because it's a great interview.
I also want to thank all the websites that pulled aggregate quotes from it but didn't embed the video. So thank you for that as well. We appreciate you were still a part of it, but we would have liked if you embedded the video. part of me was like, come on, pay it back to daddy. All that good stuff. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at KevCallum. I'm going to be producing a very cool comedy show this Wednesday at the Eris Brewing Company on the north side of Chicago. We call Brewing Up Laughs. The link is up on my Twitter. You can go see it. It's in the pinned tweet there as well. And of course, JB, busy with all things that you can do about wrestling that you can believe in. You can see that on his Twitter at JB Huskers.
Got a new podcast coming out through my gaming site that I co-founded about almost exactly 12 years ago, called The Gaming Tailgate. We kind of slowed down with it because it was mainly a NCAA football centric website, forum, and things like that. But my best friend Chris still runs it, and we still take a part of it. We just recorded a new episode, so go at Gaming Tailgate on Twitter. Eventually, we'll be dropping that new episode. We're going to be talking about spring game inclusion into that new college football game that's going to be coming out hopefully next year.
I've never seen more people freak out about a sports video game coming out in some time than I have for the return of college football video games.
Oh, man. They're worried they're going to screw it up because Madden was not good this year.
Man.
Jose, what do you got going on, bud?
Man, as always, you guys can catch me every single day here on the Top Story. We got some reels going to be coming out soon here for Hell in a Cell. For the Mania Minutes, we'll be on the lookout for those. And we got some really cool stuff over on Instagram and on TikTok. So make sure you give me a follow over there, Jose G Official, and give us a follow on TikTok over there at SK Wrestling on the TikTok and on Instagram.
Thank you guys for the support, to the diehards who were watching the whole time, who watched the whole episode too. We really do appreciate that. We see you guys, to the Rickies, to the Nishads, to the David
Big
from the
Stace,
Big Stace, to all of you guys, from Steven from the Elimination Chambers and all that good stuff. Thank you so much.
David from the Barclays Center.
Yes, David from the Barclays Center. Yes,
we love David from the Barclays Center.
Yes, exactly.
It's like we got our hello clones. We got our clones.
Yes, we got
our up, clones. Jim Rome here.
Jim Rome.
What is up?
Jim Rome.
Crack them.
Abbreviated pauses when I'm talking about a subject. Look, that's like very bad Jim Rome impression. Yeah, there we go. So thank you guys so much. Remember to always watch out. And please do this one important thing. Even if your name is now Max Dupree, no longer LA Knight, no longer Eli Drake, you have to do
what?
Important thing. You have to do what, gentlemen?
You have to enjoy wrestling.
Yeah.
Talk to them.
I own the yeah now since he doesn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out.